Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudhavadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Tahgana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमस्ते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे
Hare
राम
Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 4. We are on which chapter? We are on chapter 22nd.
21.
21.
21. Start 25. Text 25.
Okay, so we are discussing chapter number 21, instructions by Maharaj Prithu. So far we have heard Maitra Muni and Vidurji, they are having a conversation. And in the course of describing about the activities of Dhruv Maharaj, Maitreya Muni says that Narad Muni described the pastime, the glories of Dhruv Maharaj in the assembly of Prachetas. So Vidurji became inquisitive and he wanted to know more about the glories of who are these Prachetas? How did they meet Narad Muni? So because Prachetas, they come in the family of Dhruv Maharaj. So he starts describing, Maitreya Muni starts describing the dynasty of Dhruva. So in the family of Dhruva, there was a king Vena in the dynasty. His son was, one of the kings was Anga. He had a very cruel son, Vena. Ultimately, he was killed by the Brahmanas by high sounding words, and then they churned the body of Vena and came out Prithu Maharaj and Archi, the incarnation of the Palana Shakti of the Lord. And then Maitreya Muni describes how Prithu Maharaj will level the earth. He will have a argument and a fight with Indra because he wanted to steal a horse of 100th sacrifice. Then Prithu Maharaj will meet Sanat Kumar and he would hear instructions from him. So in response to this, Vidurji asks all these questions. How did he level the earth? How he milked the earth? What was the cause of the dispute and fight between Indra and Prithu? So Maitreya Muni described everything. And then we heard in the last chapter how Prithu Maharaj, he pleased Lord Vishnu by offering beautiful prayers. And ultimately he went back to his kingdom. In this 21st chapter, we are on 25th verse. So after Prithu Maharaj returns to his kingdom, all the citizens, he gathers them and he starts giving good instructions. These instructions, they are very, very important instructions, which any administrator should know and he should try to impart in the subjects. So we have heard so far, Prithu Maharaj is telling all of you, please follow the rules and regulations, become devotees, and in a very humble way, in a very submissive way, he is asking, presenting his opinion, he is not demanding. And then 25th verse, he says, my dear citizens, for the welfare of your king after his death, please execute your duties. So if you all will do your duty properly, then I will also get benefited, because the king enjoys or suffers if the subjects, they do something good or they do something sinful activity. So we'll continue from 26th verse. यूयं तत् अनुमोदत्वं पितृदेवर्षयो
तत्
मला
अनुमोदितव्यं
कर्तु शास्त्रजात
पितृदेववत्सयागमन
तुल्यं यत् प्रेत्य
प्रप्लुतस्तेषां
तत्फलम्
तुल्यं यत् तत्सुखं फलम्.
I request all the pure-hearted demigods, forefathers, and saintly persons to support my proposal. For after death, the result of an action is equally shared by its doer, its director, and its supporter.
Okay. Just a minute.
Unstable network.
Okay, so now in this verse, he is saying, I request all the devtas, forefathers, and the sages to approve my proposal. Because after death, what happens? An action is equally shared by the doer, the director, and the approver. Three people, they share the results of an action. Kartu, Shastu, Anugyataha. Kartu means one who performs an activity. Shastu, one who directs the activity. Order giver. Anugyata, one who supports the activity. Tulyam yat pretya tat phalam. They all share equally. So this is very important. If somebody is even giving direction, or if somebody is supporting the action, he also gets implicated equally. So that's how he is requesting that please support my proposal. All of you, please do good things. Don't do adharma, because you will be implicated and I will be implicated. Prabhupada writes, the government of Prithu Maharaj was perfect because it was administered exactly according to the orders of Vedic injunctions. And Prithu Maharaj has already explained that the chief duty of the government is to see that everyone executes his respective duty and is elevated to the platform of Krishna consciousness. That's the ultimate purpose of this creation. The Lord has made this world so that everyone can ultimately become Krishna conscious and go back to spiritual world. That is the ultimate purpose of all the activities which are happening in this material world. And that's why Krishna always wants the devotees to become king. Because the devotee, when they become king, naturally they will establish Krishna conscious government and the citizens will become Krishna conscious. And Lord's purpose is fulfilled in that. Prabhupada writes, since Krishna consciousness movement going on at the present moment is genuine, perfect, and authorized, and is following in the footsteps of Prithu Maharaj, anyone who cooperates with this movement and accepts its principles will get the same result. So Prabhupada is just extrapolating the same principle to good activities also. Krishna conscious activities, anybody who is exactly doing, anybody who is supporting, anybody who is directing, same result as the workers who are actively propagating Krishna consciousness. So everyone gets benefited. That's why Bhakti is called as Shubhada. One of the 6 qualities of Bhakti is Shubhada. And it has 4 qualities. Why is Shubhada? Prinanam, Sarva Jagatav Anuraktata, Sadgunadi Pradatvam, and Sukha Pradatvam. These are the four qualities of Bhakti under Shubhada, auspicious. How Bhakti is auspicious? It creates auspiciousness. It creates affection for every living entity. Prinanam. Then Sarva Jagatam Anuraktata. It attracts every living entity. Everybody is attracted by Bhakti. Sadgunadi Pradatvam. It creates good qualities, auspicious qualities, and Sukha Pradatvam. It gives happiness. So that's how he is telling all of you, please support my decision. Somebody may say, well, how can you institute the worship of the Lord, for your father denied his existence? Vena, he was not in favor of Lord's worship. Why are you promoting worship of the Lord? So in the 27th verse, he is saying, there must be a supreme authority. And that supreme authority is the Lord. Asti yagyapatir nama keshanchit
यज्ञपतिर्नाम
Ihamutra
केषिञ्चित्
Jyotsna
विहास्यत्वञ्चलत्वस्य कृष्णस्तः पतिः
Into the authoritative statements of Shastra, they
गुहः परि
is able to afford the respective benefits of our present activities. Otherwise, why should there be were equally beautiful and powerful both in this life and the life after?
So there must be a supreme authority, and this can be observed by direct perception and by scriptures. So scriptures, they describe that there is Supreme Lord, and we can see all our actions have their effect. Some effects which we experience, we have not done in this life, still we are going through. So there must be some authority who is managing all these reactions. So the two ways, by seeing directly and through scriptures, we can understand that there is one Supreme Lord. So that is how he is describing. According to the statements of Shastra, there must be a supreme authority. Asti Yagyapati Nama. Yagyapati must be there. The enjoyer of all sacrifices must be there. Keshanchit Arhasattamaha. So that is the opinion of people. Because somebody has to reward, somebody has to punish. So there must be one controller. Otherwise, why one person is beautiful, other person is ugly, one person is powerful, one person is weak? So why some people are born in different situations? There must be somebody who is controlling all these things. Nothing is happening by chance. Prabhupada writes, Prithu Maharaj's sole aim in ruling the kingdom was to raise the citizens to the standard of God consciousness. Since there was a great assembly in the arena of sacrifice, there were different types of men present, but he was specially interested in speaking to those who are not atheists. So there may be some atheists, there may be some agnostics, some Mayavadis, speculators, Gyanis, but those who are devotees, those who are believers of God, especially he is speaking for that. Because in previous verses, Prithu Maharaj advised all the citizens to become adhokshajadhiyaha. Adhokshajadhiya means conscious of God. And then Prabhupada writes, he specifically presents the authority of the Shastra, even though his father was number one atheist. Veda was number one atheist, who stopped all the sacrifices, he tortured Brahmanas, but he was propagating adhokshajadhiyaha. Atheistic men do not believe in God. They understand everything is happening by the laws of nature. As Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Kimanyat kama hetukam. There is no foundation in this material world. Everything is happening only by lust. What is that verse? Kimanyat kama hetukam. How does it start? एतां दृष्ट्वाष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानो अल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्ति उग्रकर्माणि क्षयाय जगतो हितः काममाश्रित्य दुष्पूरं दम्भमानमदान्विता यजन्ते नाम यज्ञस्ते. People in this world, they perform activities just for their name and fame. They don't accept that there is a controller. Asatyam apratishthante jagadahu anishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kama hetukam. 16.8. Krishna is saying, people in this world, they think there is no controller. Asatyam, it is all false, illusory world, no foundation, no God in control, and they say it is only produced of sex desire, no cause other than lust. So that is atheistic philosophy. Atheists believe in the atheistic Sankhya. So what is atheistic Sankhya? So this Sankhya, this atheistic Kapila, he also analyzed this material world, but he didn't find the last element, that is super soul. 25th is soul, 26th is super soul. So he says, oh, everything is happening by the Prakriti, there is no controller. They believe only in matter and hold that matter under certain conditions of amalgamation gives rise to living force. So that is atheistic philosophy. Okay. So that's how Prabhupada in this purport, he explains that there are people, those who are atheistic, they don't accept the principle of God, but there must be a God. There must be a supreme authority. Otherwise, why this material world is made? Why all these systems are made? Varnashram is made for what? Varnashram acharvata purushena parakuman Vishnu aradhyate. It is only for the purpose of Vishnu aradhan. And all these varnas and ashrams, they are engaged according to their occupational duties, according to their inclinations, so that ultimately swakarmana tam abhyarcha. Prabhupada quotes that verse. Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarcha. By one's own profession, one should ultimately worship the Supreme Lord. Tam means Supreme Lord. And the result is Siddhi Vindati, one attains perfection. Prabhupada writes before that. So Mayavadis, they don't accept that there is Lord. Lord Buddha preached the philosophy of non-violence. He was obliged to deny the authority of Vedas. So therefore, he was considered and his followers are considered as Nastik. Bauddha na manile hoye, Veda na manile Bauddha hoila Nastik. Mahaprabhu says, if you don't believe in Vedas, you are Nastik. But although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very clearly enunciated that followers of Buddha are Nastik, he considered the Shankarites who wanted to establish Vedic authority by trickery to be more dangerous than Buddhists. Why? Why Shankarites are more dangerous than Buddhists? Because Buddha outrightly rejected the scriptures, but Shankaracharya philosophy, Mayavad philosophy, says that no, we are not rejecting scriptures. You are God. God is there. You are God. That is more dangerous. That is offending the Supreme Personality. Notwithstanding all the philosophical theorizing by atheists or Mayavadis, the followers of Krishna consciousness rigidly live according to injunctions given in Gita. So that is the purpose. Ultimate purpose of all the varnashram is dharma sunashtita pumsam vishwaksena katha suya na utpadiyed ratimidhi shramevahi kevalam. If you are not worshipping Krishna, it is all shramevahi kevalam. Because the purpose is samsiddhi haritoshanam. Okay. And then Prabhupada writes, everyone should follow the principle of Arjun. He was a Kshatriya. His duty was to fight, and he satisfied the Lord by his duty. So whatever occupation one may be in, one should satisfy the Lord by this, by his activity. Otherwise, what is the destination of atheists? Tanaham dishata kruran sansareshu naradhaman shipami ajasram ashubhan ashurishyev yonishu. They are put into hellish situations of life. They may be born as animals or in lower species, birth after birth. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, Prithu Maharaja's main aim was to raise the citizens to standard of God consciousness. That is the ultimate aim of Prithu Maharaja's ruling. Prabhupada writes in the next paragraph, a father wants all of his children to be happy under his direction. Similarly, Krishna has the right to see all living entities happy. And how one will be happy? When one serves Krishna. As 2.66, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shanti ashantasya kuta sukham. If somebody is not fixing his mind and intelligence on me, how can he be happy? And without happiness, how can he be peaceful? And without peace, there can be no happiness. So if work is not performed for the pleasure of the Lord, that work is bondage. There are two kinds of duties, mundane duty and duty for the pleasure of yajna. Mundane duty creates bondage, and duty for the pleasure of the Lord brings liberation. Yajnarthat karmanitra lokoyam karmamandana. So that's how Prabhupada writes in detail about this principle, that if somebody is not following the instructions, they'll be born in lower species of life and they will suffer. Prabhupada writes in that next paragraph. Different varieties of life and material existence do not come about by chance. By chance he took birth in billionaire's home. By chance वो धारावी में आया. By chance सुंदर हो गया. By chance ugly. No, it is not by chance. It is all happening according to the arrangement. Karmana daivanetrena jantu dehopapattaye striyaha paravishtodaram pumso reta kanashrayah. According to the karma, under the supervision of higher nature, one is put into womb of certain mother. So there is a plan for everyone. Any activity you do, you get a reaction accordingly. And then Prabhupada writes, there is a plan which is already outlined in Vedic knowledge. What's the plan for all of us? The plan is one has to take advantage of the knowledge and mold his life in such a way that at the end, especially in human form, one may go back to God. That is the ultimate purpose. And then Prabhupada writes wonderfully, the theory of chance, by chance ho gaya. By chance matlab kya hai? Theory of chance can best be explained by the word agyat sukriti. Agyat sukriti refers to pious activities performed without the actor's knowledge. But then he says, these are also planned. Agyat sukriti is also planned. Who is planning? Krishna is planning. Krishna sends his devotees. Krishna sends his representatives. Krishna sends scriptures. He comes himself. That is his plan. So devotees, they come to canvas. So nothing is happening by chance. So all of this is planned by the Lord so that ordinary people can get a chance to mix with devotees, talk with them, take lessons from them, and somehow or other, if a conditioned soul surrenders to great personalities and associates with them, becomes Krishna conscious, he'll be saved. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, okay, you desire to institute worship of the Lord. How is that possible for your father who accepted the teachings of Kaivalya? He was an atheist. So he's saying, oh, most respectable persons, with an opposite intention, he says, some persons are of opinion that Supreme Lord, called the Lord of sacrifices, exists. Some people, they doubt. No. Some people say Lord is there, some people say Lord is not there. It is proved by the fact that without the Lord there can be no variety. So that is explained in great detail in this verse purport by Srila Prabhupada, that Lord is there. Okay. Now, the citizens may ask, you are saying the Lord is there. Is there any authority who believes in this viewpoint? Or you are the only one who is saying like this? He says, no, there is a big list of authority. I'll recite this verse. मनोर उत्तान पादस्य ध्रुवस्यापि महीपते प्रियव्रतस्य राजर्षे अंगस्यास्मत्पितु पितु ईदृशानामथान्येषाम् अजस्य च भयस्य च भवस्य च प्रह्लादस्य बलेश्चापि कृत्यम् अस्ति गदाभृता. Translation.
This is confirmed not only by the evidence of the Veda, but also by the personal behavior of great personalities like Manu, Tanpada, Dhruva, Priyavrata, and my grandfather Anga, as well as by many other great personalities and ordinary livings, exemplified by Maharaja Prahlada and Bali, all of whom are still believing in the existence of Supreme Personality of Godhead who carries it.
Yes. So he's saying there are lists of people, great personalities who confirm that there is Supreme Lord. I'm not the only one. They agree that the only bestower of dharma, artha, kama, moksha is Gadabhrita, one who holds Gada. That is Supreme Lord. Prabhupada writes, one has to ascertain the right path by following in the footsteps of great personalities. Sadhu Shastra Guru Vakya Chittete Koriya Aikya Mahajano Yenagata Sapantha. So Prabhupada writes about the 12 Mahajans. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, Ritu is saying, let those who disagree with my opinion at this place be sent to the city of my maternal grandfather, death. जो नहीं फॉलो कर रहा है, let them go to death. The Lord is further described. He is Ekatmya, the independent. His Swarupa, Atmya, has the meaning as Atma. Okay, some details are there. So basically, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, whatever result you want to obtain, you can obtain by the worship of the Lord. One has to accept the Lord in all situations of life. Even if we have all desires, even if we have no desires, or you want liberation, mukti, worship the Lord. Worship the Lord is beneficial for everyone. Akama, sarvakama va moksha kamo dharti. Chakravarti Thakur quotes another verse by Krishna. He's speaking to Uddhava. Whatever result one obtains by karma, tapasya, yat karmabhir, yat tapasa, jnana, vairagya, shet, yogena, dana dharmena, shreyobhir itrairapi, sarvam madbhakti yogena, madbhakto labhate anjasa. By the results obtained by karma, tapasya, jnana, vairagya, yoga, dana, dharma, anything, sarvam madbhakti yogena, madbhakto labhate anjasa. My devotee gets the result of all these activities very easily. What do you want? Swarga, you will get Swarga. Apavarga, milega. Madhama, you will get that also. So that's how the results of liberation, Swarga in this world, they are achieved by Bhakti. Then he continues his instructions. He says, and the 30th, Dauhitrani nrite mrityo Shochan dharma vimohita Varga swargapa vargana Prayena ekatmya hetuna.
Although abominable persons like my father, Rena, the grandson of that personified, are bewildered on the path of religion, all the great personalities like those mentioned agree that in this world, the only vector of the benedictions of religion, economic development, sense gratification, liberation, or elevation to the heavenly planets is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. So whatever you want, you will get the result by practicing bhakti. He is the ultimate giver of all the results. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha, whatever you want, you will get by the practice of bhakti. And this is approved by great personalities in the past. You want liberation? You will get liberation. Just follow in the footsteps of great personalities. Etam sa asthaya paratmanishta adhyasitam purvatame maharshibi aham tarishyami. Following in the path of great personalities, I will also cross the ocean. So whatever you want, you will get this by the practice of devotional service. So Prabhupada writes, Vena was condemned by Brahmanas because he denied the Supreme Lord and he stopped the sacrifices. He was an atheist. So Prithu Maharaj, he is telling that, oh, this Vena's character was abominable because he was rejecting the Lord. Atheists are of opinion that there is no need to accept the authority of the Supreme Lord. If you want dharma, artha, kama, moksha, you don't need to believe in God. According to them, dharma are meant to establish an imaginary God in order to encourage to become moral and honest, just so that there can be peace in the society. As it is said by one person, religion is the opium of the masses. How to control the masses? Give them something religious so that they'll believe and they'll come under control. So they'll follow. Furthermore, they say that actually there is no need to accept the God for this purpose. Oh, you want to follow morality, tranquility, peace. Why are you bringing God in picture? You can be peaceful anyways. There are some people like this. हम भगवान मानते नहीं है, लेकिन हम तो सब अच्छा करते हैं, हम किसी का बुरा नहीं करते. We speak truth. भगवान को बीच में लाने की क्या जरूरत है? Prabhupada is saying, to follow the principles of morality and honesty, that is sufficient. बस इतना कर लिया ना, काफी है. What is the need of bringing God? Similarly, if one makes nice plans and works very hard for economic development, the results will come. Work hard and you will get success. That is the philosophy, karma mamsa philosophy. Work and you will get success. Why are you bringing God in picture? Then they say, sense gratification does not depend on mercy of the Lord. If one earns money by any process, यावत् जीवेत सुखम जीवेत ऋणम कृत्वा घृतम प्रवेद भस्मीभूतस्य देहस्य कुतः पुनरागमन भवेत्. Beg, borrow, or steal, eat rice made in ghee, eat food made in ghee, मजा करो. If you can enjoy, then why are you bringing God? And liberation, as far as liberation is concerned, there is no need to talk about liberation. Because after death, everything is finished. Liberation क्या है? So that is the atheistic philosophy. Prithu Maharaj, he did not accept all these concepts. A person who is always subjected to rules and regulations of repeated birth and death cannot accommodate anything beyond materialistic ideas. So materialistic persons, for them, these are alien ideas, alien thoughts. कि भाई क्या ये क्यों मानना है भगवान में? We are living a good life, happy life, चल रहा है, no? Since King Vena was such a atheistic man, he did not believe in existence of God. And modern civilization agrees with the principle of King Vena. That is the modern civilization. But factually, if we scrutinizingly study all the conditions of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, we must accept the principles of authority of God. If we do not accept the authority, then one must explain why two people are born in different conditions. Who decides? One person is working hard, he's getting success. Same logic Prabhupada is using again and again. The 5 principles, 5 things which determine a result: adhisthana, karta, karana, cheshta, and daiva. So they don't accept daiva. But daiva plays a very important role. So Prabhupada is using the same understanding. Why two people of same moral standard achieve different results? One becomes successful, one does not become successful. How is it that they are not achieving the same success? Their position is not same. Similarly, in economic development, it is seen that if two men work very hard day and night, the result is not same. One may become very rich, other may remain mediocre, poor. Somebody may not get even 2 meals a day. Why this is happening? So it is not that there is no God. Okay. And then Prabhupada writes, the last few lines. Maharaj Prithu, therefore, indicated that in spite of having rich parents, children sometimes are not happy. In spite of valuable medicines, the patient dies. In spite of having a big boat, a man drowns. What Prabhupada is paraphrasing here? Anyone? Any verse? Anyone knows? Prahlad Maharaj is telling to Nrsimhadev, oh my Lord, if somebody is neglected by you, parents cannot save the child. The doctor cannot save the patient. Balasya neha sharanam pitarau narsimha nartasya chagadamudanvati majjato nau taptasya tatpratividirya ihanja sheshta tavad vibhotanubhritam tadupekshitanam. If you neglect somebody, oh my Lord, there is no good for that person. Then 31st is a beautiful verse. Prithu Maharaj is saying, ultimately, devotional service cleanses the mind. Yatpad seva bhiruchistapasvina ashesha janmo pachitam malam dhiya sadya shnotyan mahamedati sati yatha padangoshta vinesrita sati.
By the inclination of to serve the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, suffering humanity can immediately cleanse the dirt which has accumulated in their minds during innumerable births, like the Ganges water which emanates from the toys of the lotus feet of the Lord. Such a process immediately cleanses the mind, and thus spiritual or Krishna consciousness gradually increases.
Yatpada seva abhiruchi. Yes, by one's inclination to serve the Lord's feet. Pada seva abhiruchi. Abhiruchi means inclination to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. If one does that tapasya, what happens? Ashesha janmo pachitam malam dhiya. One becomes free of contamination which he has acquired of millions of life. Ashesha janma, innumerable births. And sadhya kshinoti, immediately he is cleansed off. Malam dhiya, whatever contamination of the mind he has acquired, sadhya shinoti. Shinoti means destroyed. And what happens next? Anvaham edhati sati. The day by day, one's spiritual inclination increases. It is like yatha padangushta vinisrita sari. It is like purification done by Ganga. Just like Ganga purifies, this process of devotional service also purifies. By meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, one is purified. Third canto, we have heard the beautiful prayers from the lotus feet to the lotus face. In that first two verses, they glorified the lotus feet of the Lord. Sanchintayed Bhagavatas Charanara Vajrang Kushadvaja Saroruhalanchanadhyam Uttungarakta Vilasannaka Chakravala Jyotsna Virahat Mahadaridendakaram. Jyotsna, the effulgence of the toenails of the Lord, can destroy the intense darkness in the heart of a devotee. It can destroy the mountain. Shamala Shaila Nisrishta Vajram. Shamala Shail. The mountain of anartha is destroyed. That's the power of the lotus feet of the Lord. Just like Ganga purifies, the meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord also purifies. Then Prabhupada writes in a purport that yes, it is actual proof. The Ganga water can free one from all kinds of diseases. He says, A very respectable Brahman in Calcutta never took doctor's medicine. Even if he sometimes fell sick, he would not accept medicine. He would simply drink Ganga water, and he was cured always within a short time. The glories of Ganga are now known to Indians and to ourselves also. Of course, then Prabhupada writes, yes, now we are seeing so many dirty things put in the Ganga, but still, thousands of men take bath in Ganga. There are research also which is made. Even though millions and crores of people take bath in Ganga, Ganga water always remains, purifying. The Ganga water does not have the heavy load of bacteria. That is medical research also. That is the effect of Ganga water, because it is coming from the lotus feet of the Lord, who is all purifying. Then Prabhupada writes, if one takes to the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, he is immediately cleansed of many dirty things which has accumulated in his million births. Gangara parasha hoile paschate pavan darshane pavitra karo aitomara gun. Ganga purifies after taking bath many times. But the devotees of the Lord, darshane pavitra karo. Just by darshan of the devotees, one gets purified. Yesham samsmaranat pumsam sadyo shuddhanti vaigrihat kim punar darshan sparsha padashauchasanadini. Parikshit Maharaj is telling to Shukdev Goswami. Just by remembering you, one gets purified. Yesham samsmaranat sadyo, immediately. Not just he, entire family gets purified. What to speak of if one gets a chance to take darshan of the Lord's devotee, touch the lotus feet of the devotee, wash the feet of the devotee. So devotee is so powerful. How much powerful the Lord may be? Prabhupada writes. We have seen that in spite of the very black record of their past lives, people who take to Krishna consciousness become perfectly cleansed of all dirty things and make spiritual progress very swiftly. So that is the power of devotional service. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Shipram, very quickly he becomes dharmatma. So that is the power of devotional service. Next verse is also beautiful. He says a devotee doesn't surrender to the Lord to get something material. Vinirdutashesh manomalappaman asanga vijnana vishesha viryavan yadangrimule kritaketana puna क्लेश वहां प्रपद्यते
When a devotee takes shelter at the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is completely clean of all misunderstanding or mental speculation, and he manifests renunciation. This is possible only when one is strengthened by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Once having taken shelter at the root of the lotus feet of the Lord, a devotee never comes back to the material existence, which is full of the threefold misery. Hare Krishna.
Vinirdhuta, one is specifically cleansed of ashesh manomala, unlimited mental contamination. Unlimited contamination which is accumulated in the mind. Manomala, the contamination of speculation, contamination of desire to enjoy this world. Ashesha, unlimited, it is unlimited. Asanga Vijnana Vishesha Viryavan. So this devotee whose mind is completely cleansed of all the material contamination, who has developed detachment, asanga, detachment, and Vijnana Vishesha Viryavan. Vijnana Vishesh means he has he has realized the beauty of the Lord. Vigyan means the realization of the beauty of the Lord. Viryavan, because by the strength of Bhakti Yoga, Viryavan. So he has become purified in the mind. He has become asanga, detached. He has become Vijnana Vishesha Viryavan. By the strength of Bhakti Yoga, he has realized the beauty of the Lord. And Yadangri Mole Kritiketa Puna, and he has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. You know what happens to them? Na sansriti klesh vaham prapatyate. They do not surrender to material life again. So that is the result of a devotee practicing bhakti yoga. They never surrender to material life again. So because they are purified, they are detached, they have realized Krishna's beauty, they have surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord, they never surrender to the material energy again. And this all happens by chanting the names of the Lord, Prabhupada writes. So by the process of hearing and chanting, Cheto Darpana Marjanam happens. And the total effect of this takes place when a living entity identifies himself with his body. Total effect of this means material association. How the material contamination becomes more prominent? I am this body. Ishwaroham, Ambhogi, Siddhoham, Balwan, Sukhi. I am enjoyer, I am controller. He's bound. But by the strength of Bhakti Yoga, one is completely cleansed off. So this is the cleansing process. As one of the qualities of Bhakti is Kleshagni. All the material miseries are destroyed. Aprarabdha, Phalam, Papam, Putam, Bijam, Phalonmukham. Everything is Kramenaiva Praliyeta. Everything is destroyed. Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmana. Bhakti is characterized by Jnana and Vairagya. Asanga, Vijnana, Vishesha. So these are two qualities of Bhakti. Detachment and knowledge. They have to come. If these two things are not coming, that means there is some problem in the path of Bhakti. With our practice of the path of Bhakti. Bhakti is always pure. But if we are not practicing Bhakti properly, then this Vairagya and Gyan will not come. Janayati Anshu, Vairagya and Gyan has to come. Bhakti Pareshanu Bhava Virakti. Virakti has to come. Nahi ho raha hai. There is some problem. When a devotee is fixed in serving the lotus feet of the Lord, he never comes back. Tattva Deham Punarjanma Naiti. Then Prabhupada describes what is Jnana, what is Vijnana. Jnana means knowledge that I am not this body, I am soul. Vijnana means understanding the beauty of the Lord, the personality of the Lord. That is the knowledge of Paramatma. That is Vijnana. So Vijnana, just Jnana is not sufficient. We have to develop Vijnana because that gives higher taste. The higher taste gives a sustainable platform of Bhakti. Unless one develops Vijnana, just Jnana will not make one steady. And then Prabhupada writes, this is possible in the path of Bhakti because one can directly perceive the Lord. Pratyaksha avagamam. It is not that Bhakti is for those people who are in the past, those big devotees. We are so small, fallen Kali-yuga devotee. Hamara kya hoga? No, anybody and everybody can experience this path of purification. That's why it is called as Pratyaksha avagamam. By practicing Bhakti Yoga, one can directly perceive his advancement in spiritual life. Everybody can experience that, perceive that advancement. Yes, now I am perceiving the Lord's presence in my life. That's how Lord is working in my life. It has to happen. We have to learn to see the Lord's hand in our life. That is the ultimate, that is the cultivation we have to make. In every action, in every part of our life, we have to see how Lord is working. In other practices, one may not be confident about his progress, but in Bhakti Yoga, one can become directly aware of his progress in spiritual life. Sometimes it looks the other way, ना? ओ योगियों को तो सिद्धि मिला, हमको क्या मिल रहा है? हमारा तो वही सोलह मला हरे कृष्णा कैसे कैसे करके तो हो जाता है हमारा। तो इधर अपना ऐसे जैसे तो हो रहा है, कहाँ से डायरेक्ट परसीव? So it is important to introspect. It is important to pray and spend time with the Lord so that we can experience that His presence. नहीं तो भागते 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 सेवा तो हो जाएगी. But if we are not absorbed in Krishna, then we will not make that much advancement. So therefore, it is important to be absorbed in Krishna while doing our services. नहीं तो क्यों बोला है बार बार इतना प्रत्यक्ष आवागम, प्रत्यक्ष, डायरेक्टली अवेयर? तो बहुत समय हम ठोक ठोक के बोल रहे हैं, अरे अदर पास वन इज मे नॉट बी कॉन्फिडेंट. तो उल्टा लगता है, अरे कर्म किया तो फल मिल रहा है ना. कर्मी इज देयर एंजॉयिंग देयर लाइफ, दे आर गेटिंग समथिंग मटेरियल. अपना क्या मिल रहा है? अपना तो वही वही भागवतम में अभी भी नींद आ रही है. वही जब में नींद आ रही है. किधर एडवांसमेंट? Prabhupada is saying one can directly become aware of his progress in spiritual life. Just as a person who eats can understand, हाँ भाई पेट भर गया, बताना थोड़ा ना पड़ता पेट भर गया तुम्हारा. One experiences. Our false appetite for enjoyment and lordship of the material world is due to prominence of passion and ignorance. By Bhakti Yoga, these two qualities are diminished, and one is situated in goodness. Gradually, one is not contaminated by material qualities. When thus situated, a devotee no longer has any doubts. He knows he will not come back to this material world. That's how Prabhupada was sure. I'm giving them a key to Goloka. I have the key to Goloka Vrindavan. I will take you from the back door. Prabhupada सब जय बोलते हैं, लेकिन हमको लगता है सच में होगा क्या ऐसा? That is a faith. The process of bhakti purifies. Vinirdutashesh malo manomalakuma pravishta karnarandrena swanam bhava saroruham dhunoti shamalam krishna salilasya tatharat. As the sound vibration enters the ears, purifies the heart, the heart becomes completely cleansed off. Okay. So now the citizens, they have asked, since we are drowned in our household activities, how can we worship the Lord with pure devotion? हम कहाँ शुद्ध भक्ति कर पाएंगे? शुद्ध भक्ति नहीं होगा हमसे. We cannot practice pure devotional service. So understanding that, Prithu Maharaj says, okay, at least do karma mishra bhakti. If you can't practice pure bhakti, do karma mishra bhakti. That he recommends in the next verse. I'll recite this verse. तमेव यूयं भजतात्म वृत्तभि मनो वचक्काय गुणत्व कर्मभि अमायिनः कामदुगांग्रि पंकजं यथाधिकारा वसितार्थ सिद्धयः. Translation.
Maharaj advised his citizens, engage in your minds, your words, your bodies, and the results of your occupational duties, and being always open-minded, you should all render devotional service to the Lord, according to your abilities and the occupations in which you are situated. You should engage your service at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full confidence and without reservations. Then you will surely be successful in achieving the final objective in your life.
So he's saying, offer all the results of your work to the Lord. That is karma mishra. Okay, you cannot practice pure bhakti, at least do karma mishra. Offer the results of your work to Krishna. Engage your mind, word, body, mano, vachak, kaya, guna. Swakarma bhi according to your own action duty. Worship the Lord. Wherever you are, worship the Lord. And the good thing is, if you worship the Lord, Lord will purify you. That is the power of Bhakti Yoga. Even if it is Mishra, it purifies the mind. The Lord purifies one. Satyam dishati arthitam arthito ninam naivarthadoya punararthitam. If you ask material things from Krishna, Krishna will give in a way that he will purify us also. So in the purport, Prabhupada describes about the varnashram system. How all the varnas and ashrams, they are ultimately meant to serve the Lord. And by the process of varnashram system, one gradually gets purified. So that's the whole purport Prabhupada is writing. Next, the second paragraph, Prabhupada writes, the question may be raised that since the Lord is supposed to be worshipped by great devatas like Brahma, Shiva, others, how can an ordinary human being on this planet serve him? We are not qualified. Prithu Maharaj says, Yatha Adhikar. Wherever you are, worship the Lord. Lord can be worshipped anywhere. There are no restrictions in worshipping the Lord. According to your level, worship the Lord. Yatha Adhikar. If one executes his occupational duty, that will be sufficient. One does not have to become Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Lord Chaitanya, or Ramanujacharya. Whatever capacity you have, serve the Lord. Even a Shudra can serve the Lord. Anyone can become successful, provided he displays no duplicity. Amaina. Yo amayaya santataya anuvrittya bhajet tatpada saroja gandham. That is, how does it start? First Canto shloka. Yo mayaya santataya anuvrittya bhajet tatpada saroja gandham. Santataya. Savedhatam padavim parasya duranta viryasya rathangapani. Yo mayaya santataya anuvrittya bhajet tatpada saroja gandham. So one who renders amayaya santataya anuvrittya bhakti without reservation, without any gap, and favorable. Worship the Lord, they can know the Lord. Anyone can worship the Lord. Bhakti is apratihata. What does it mean? Apratihata? Anyone can practice. There are no obstacles in the path of bhakti. Then, in next two verses, Prithu Maharaj, he is sensing that some of the citizens, they are saying Bhakti Mishra, Karma Mishra Bhakti bhi thoda zyada ho gaya. Then he says in next two verses, Are Baba, theek hai, Karma Mishra Bhakti nahi ho raha, Bhakti Mishra Karma karo. At least add Bhakti in your life. Asavihane ka guno gunodhvara prithak vidha dravya guna priyoti bhi sampadyate artha shayalinga namabhi vishuddha vijnana dhanaswarupataha. Translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental and not contaminated by this material world. But although he is concentrated, he is concentrated in spirit soul without material rights. For the benefit of the conditioned soul, he nevertheless accepts different types of sacrifice performed with various material elements, rituals, and mantras, and offered to the demigods under different names according to their interests and purposes of the performance.
So anyway you get connected to the Lord. Supreme Lord is always pure and transcendental. Whatever you offer, He will accept it. He accepts different types of sacrifice formed with various elements, rituals, mantras. He accepts it. At least do something for the pleasure of the Lord. If you can't do Karma Mishra Bhakti, do Bhakti Mishra Karma. So Prabhupada writes, for material prosperity, there are recommendations in the Vedas for various types of yajna. Lord Brahma created Sahyagya Prajasishwa. Why yajna was created? So that people can practice this yajna, do this yajna, they become prosperous, and ultimately they may connect to the Lord and they may get purified. That's how ultimately the karma kandas rituals are made. So that ultimately one gets purified. He says, no, I'm not happy in that. Okay, I want to serve more. I want to go ahead in this. Karma yoga, karma kand se karma yoga se jnana and ashtanga. Gradually he will rise. So he's saying, Prithu Maharaj is saying, at least do karma mishra, bhakti mishra karma. Chakravarti Thakur comments that these karma kand ritualistic ceremonies, although contaminated, contain touches of devotional service. Because whenever there is a performance of yajna, Vishnu is central. Even if somebody is doing karma kand, unless bhakti is added, it will not give result. Unless one adds bhakti to jnana, it will not give result. What example? So कितने और पूछ लिए? क्या example है? Beating the vidya. Tula tushavaghatina. Unless one is not adding bhakti to yoga, it will not give the result. So bhakti is an active ingredient. Add bhakti at least. Even if you can't practice bhakti, karma mishra bhakti, at least add a tinge of bhakti. Bhakti mishra karma to karo. He says, this is very important. Because even a little endeavor to please the Lord is bhakti and is of great value. A tinge of bhakti purifies the material nature of the performances, which by devotional service gradually comes to transcendental position. Gradually, बहुत समय लग जाएगा, but gradually it will happen. Okay. And then Prabhupada describes how direct process of bhakti is all powerful, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu and all that Prabhupada writes in the purport. Gradually one becomes Vishuddha Vijnana Ghana. The Lord is Vishuddha Vijnana Ghana, and even though he accepts karma kanda results, he doesn't get contaminated. He is always pure. So wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever intentions you have, try to serve the Lord. Prabhupada gives the example of Dhruva. He went to the Lord for material things, but he got benefited, he got purified. Okay. So after hearing all this, okay, 35th also he continues the same. प्रधान कालाशय धर्म संग्रहे शरीर एषा प्रतिपत्य चेतना क्रियाफलत्वेन विभुर्विभाव्यते यथा नलोदारुषु तत्गुणात्मकः. Translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is all pervading, but He is also manifested in different types of bodies which arise from a combination of material nature, time, desires, and occupational views. Thus, different types of consciousness develop just as fire, which is always basically the same, blazes in different ways according to the shape and dimension of fire.
So the Lord always remains pure. The living entities, they get a particular body according to their. They are affected by the modes of nature. The Supreme Lord never gets affected by the modes of nature. He is beyond the modes. Etad ishanamishasya prakritistovi tadgunai nayujyate sadatmaste yatha buddhi tadashraya. All the Lord is working in this material world, he never gets affected by the modes of this material world. The human beings, the living entities get affected. Sometimes they get a body of goodness, sometimes a body of passion, of ignorance. And a human being is therefore advised to associate with spiritually advanced personalities. Tad vijnanatam sagurum eva abhigachet. Abhigachet means he must go. No option, must. That is, not optional. If one wants to get free of this material modes, must go. One must approach spiritual master. It is imperative that one approach spiritual master, or by such association, one proportionately develops his consciousness towards the Supreme. And the highest perfection is Krishna consciousness. So then after Hearing all this, the citizens, they now are saying, "Oh, Prithu Maharaj, you are so merciful. By your philosophical instructions, we have understood what is our duty, and all of us will worship the Lord for sure. Thank you for bestowing mercy on me, on us." We'll recite this. Aho mamami vitarantyanagraham
Namaami Vitaranti
Harim Gurum
Nugraham
Yajna Pujamadishwaram
Harim Gurum Yagya
Dharma
Pujamadishwaram
Yogena Yajanti Mamaka
Dharma Yogena Yajanti
Nirantaram
Mamakam
Shonitale Dridhavrata.
Nirantaram Shomitale Dridhavrata.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality is a master and entertainer of these personal sacrifices, and he is spiritual master as well. All of you, citizens on the surface of the globe, who have a relationship with me of your occupational duties, are bestowing your mercy upon me. Therefore, O my citizen, I thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so now all the citizens. Actually, this verse is also spoken by Prithu Maharaj. He's saying, all of you are worshipping the Lord and all of you are showing mercy to me. This is amazing. This is not spoken by the citizens. This is spoken by Prithu Maharaj only. He is saying, all of you are so mercifully following and worshipping the Supreme Lord. So it is a mercy which you are showing on me. I thank you. So that is how Prithu Maharaj is humbly telling that I am so very grateful. जो नहीं भी कर रहा उसको भी लगेगा ठीक है भाई करना चाहिए. If some senior person says thank you for all your services, so a devotee thinks अभी करना चाहिए ना, इतना बोल रहे हैं humbly, so we should do. So he is saying all of you are worshipping the Supreme Lord, and by your swadharma yogena yajanti, by your occupational duties you are worshipping the Lord. So therefore, I am so very grateful to you. You are showing mercy to me. Anugraha. Aho mama ami vitaranti anugraha. All of you are distributing mercy to me by following your duties. Yeah, kripa kar rahe hain, seva kar rahe hain. Prabhupada writes. Prithu Maharaj concluded his advice to citizens in two ways. He has repeatedly advised persons who are neophytes to engage in devotional service according to their varnashram. And here, he thanks those who already are engaging in devotional service. So, two things he is doing. Those who are doing it, he is telling, those who are not doing it, he is telling them do it. And those who are doing it, he is thanking them. That's how he is two ways concluding his instructions. Thank you, and please continue doing it. Those who are doing varnashram duties, thank you. Those who are doing bhakti, thank you. He personally thanks those who are engaged in devotional service to the Lord, who is actually enjoyer of all the sacrifices, who is Antaryami. And the word used here is Gurum, which indicates Lord as Chaitya Guru. Supreme Lord in his Paramatma feature is present in everyone's heart, and he is always trying to induce the soul to surrender. Shastra Guru Atma Rupe Apanare Janan Krishna Mora Prabhu Trata Jivera Hoy Gyan. The Lord is working in three ways: Shastra, Guru, Atma Rupe. He comes as scriptures, he comes as spiritual master, and he comes as super soul. Apanare Jana. He reveals himself through these three things. And then the living entity understands Krishna Mora Prabhu Trata. He is my master, he is my deliverer. That is the jnana, jivera jnana. So what Lord is doing for all of us, it is incomprehensible. Nobody can understand what the Lord is doing for every living entity. नैवोपयन्त्यपचितिं कवयस्तवेषा ब्रह्मायिषा विकृतमृत्तमिदं स्वरन्तः अन्तर्बहिस्तनुभृतामशुभं विधुन्वन्नाचार्य चैत्यवपुषा स्वगतिं व्यनक्ति. Nobody can understand the extent of mercy the Lord is showing on everyone. From inside, from outside, He is working. From inside, He is working as Paramatma, and outside, He is working as spiritual master. Nobody can write down क्या क्या किए भगवान. We cannot express our gratitude sufficiently. Even if somebody is a great poet, even if somebody gets a life of Brahma Ayushapi. So therefore, Prithu Maharaj is telling his subjects that thank you. All of you are rendering devotional service. Lord manifests himself externally as spiritual master and internally as Paramatma. He is therefore mentioned as Guru. It appears that, however, that in the time of Maharaj Prithu, all the people on the surface of the globe were his subjects. Most of them, in fact, all of them were engaged in devotional service. Therefore, he thanked them in humble way for engaging in devotional service and bestowing mercy upon him. In other words, in a state where citizens and the head of state are engaged in devotional service, they help one another and are mutually benefited. So then, after this, in the next section, Prithu Maharaj, in order to establish the supremacy of Bhakti, he glorifies the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. From 37 to 44 verses, he is glorifying Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Mahajatu Teja Prabhaven Mahardivi Titikshaya Tapasa Vidyaya Cha
शिक्षया तपसा विद्यया च
Vidyamane Jitadevitana
विद्यमाने जितदेवतानां
Rajakuladvijanam.
कुले स्वयं राजकुलाद्विजानाम्.
The Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are personally glorified by their characteristic power of tolerance, penance, knowledge, and education. By dint of all these spiritual assets, Vaishnavas are more powerful than royalty. It is therefore advised that the princely order not exhibit its material prowess before these two communities and should avoid offending them.
Never ever try to offend the great personalities. These two communities are very powerful. Who are they? The Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. We should be very, very careful. Ajita and Devatanam. Ajita Devatanam means the Vaishnavas and those who are Dvijanam, those who are Brahmanas. They are very powerful. They are glorified by their tolerance, penance, knowledge and education, tapasa, titiksha, vidyayacha. They are very, very powerful. And therefore, they are more powerful than royalty. They are more powerful than the Kshatriyas. Never ever offend them. Majatu. Never offend these great personalities. Because anyone who offends the great personalities, they are destroyed. In the 10th canto, there is a verse. Ayu Shriyo Yasho Dharma Lokan Ashish Evacha Hanti Shreyamsi Sarvani Pumso Mahat Atikramaha. When a great personality is offended, then what else? What all things are destroyed? Ayu, Shri, Yash, Dharma, Lokan Ashish. All auspiciousness, blessings, आयु, wealth, fame सब नष्ट हो जाता है. One should never ever try to offend the great personalities. Prabhupada in the purport this focuses on Mahaprabhu's instructions to Rupa Goswami. Comes in Madhya Leela, 19th chapter. When Mahaprabhu is instructing Rupa Goswami about the Bhaktilata beach, the creeper of Bhaktilata, how it should be protected from the two things: the creepers, the weeds, not creepers, the weeds, and offenses, mad elephant offense. What are the weeds? The weeds are Putinati Pratishtha Jiva Himshan Ujalava Pratishtadi Yata Upashakha. Upashakha means diplomacy, violence, desire for name, fame, prestige. They are the weeds. And then Mattahati Aparadh, that is Vaishnava Aparadh. Prabhupada writes the example of Durvasa Muni. The most type of grievous Vaishnava Aparadh is Guru Aparadh. That is most serious. Guru Avagya. Guru Avagya means to second क्या है? Second है ना? What is second offense? Against the holy names?
ब्रह्मा शिव आदि नामों को भगवान नाम
हाँ,
के
third
समान
क्या है?
समझना।
ये
गुरु की अवज्ञा।
गुरु की अवज्ञा
Guru की अवज्ञा ना? वही third.
हम्म,
Guru Avagya, Shruti Shastra Nindan, to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures. That is fourth. So that is most grievous type of offense. We should be very, very careful. Then Prabhupada writes in the next paragraph, a simple definition of Vaishnava is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is a Vaishnava? उनको देख के भगवान की याद आए वो वैष्णव है. There are different levels. When there is a Kulinagram Vasis, they would come every time from Navdeep on Kulinagram, and while returning they would ask the same question: who is a Vaishnava? So first time Mahaprabhu said, यार मुके एक बार सुने कृष्ण नाम सही तो वैष्णव कर तहारा सम्मान. If somebody is chanting once Krishna, a devotee. दूसरे बार बोले अरे one who is भजन विज्ञ, who is steady in devotional service, दीक्षा हो गया है, वो devotee है. Third time उसको देख के दूसरे लोग devotee बनते हैं. That is uttama. So Prabhupada is writing about that. If a person is reminded of Supreme Lord, he is a Vaishnava. In this verse, both Vaishnavas and Brahmanas are mentioned. A Vaishnava is a learned Brahman and therefore is designated as Brahmana Vaishnava. आज का भी एक क्वेश्चन दिया ना मैंने.
कितने टाइप के ब्राह्मण?
हाँ.
दो टाइप के ब्राह्मण, एक ब्राह्मण पंडित और दूसरा ब्राह्मण
वैष्णव. इसमें भी वो देखो वही आ रहा है. A Vaishnava is a learned Brahman and therefore is designated as Brahmana Vaishnava, Brahman Pandit, or as a Vaishnava and Brahman. In other words, a Vaishnava is supposed to be Brahman already, but Brahman may not be Vaishnava. Vaishnava is always a Brahman. Of course, अपने ISKCON में अभी ब्राह्मण दीक्षा नहीं होगा तो नहीं बोलते हैं, लेकिन Brahman is by quality, not by official rituals. A Vaishnava is always a Brahman. Brahman may not be Vaishnava. Who is a Brahman? Brahma janati iti Brahman. A devotee knows who is Brahma. So he is a Brahman. And when a Brahman rises to platform of understanding Bhagavan, he becomes Vaishnava. Brahmananam sahasrebhya satrayaji vishishyate. Satrayaji sahasrebhya sarva vedanta paraga. Sarva vedanta vidkotya Vishnu bhakta vishishyate. Vaishnavanam sahasrebhya ekante eko vishishyate. Out of thousands of Brahmanas, Satrayaji, जिसको यज्ञ करना आता है वो बेस्ट है. Satrayaji सहस्त्रभ्य, out of thousands can perform यज्ञ, वेदांत समझता है वो बेस्ट. सर्व वेदांत विद, जिसको सब वेदांत समझता है, ऐसे thousands में से विष्णु भक्त is the best. एक होता है कोई तो विष्णु. And out of thousands of Vishnu Bhakta, one is a devotee of Krishna. That is the glory of Vishnu Bhakta. Prabhupada writes, offenses at their lotus feet, the lotus feet of Brahman and Vaishnava, they are so destructive that even the descendants of Yadu were destroyed. क्या हो गया था? Cursed by Brahmanas because they were mocking at them. सांब के पेट पे उन्होंने कुछ कपड़ा बांधा, बोला, will this be a boy or a girl? This lady is shy, she wants to ask. So they were cursed that she will give birth to a club which will destroy the entire dynasty. Sometimes, due to their powerful positions, princes and government servants neglect the position of Brahman and Vaishnava, not knowing that because of their offense they'll be ruined. Continue. Maharaj continues. In 38th verse, he's saying, Arey, Brahmanas are the cause of Lord's reputation. Because of the Brahmana, the Lord is glorified. Brahmanya Deva Purusha Puratano Nityam Harirya Charanabhivandana
Nityam Hareyacharaṇābhivandana
Avapya Lakshmim Anapayini Yasho
Anapalakshman Anapayini Yasho
Pavitram Chamahattamagranihi.
Jagat Pavitram Chamahattamagrani.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ancient eternal Godhead, who is foremost amongst all great personalities, obtained the opulence of his staunch reputation, which purifies the entire universe by worshipping the lotus feet of those Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Brahmanya Deva Purusha Puratana. So all these Brahmanas, they are worshipping that Purusha Puratan, that supreme eternal Lord, Nityam. Always they are worshipping. Yet Charanabhi Vandana. By worshipping the lotus feet of that eternal foremost person, Lord Hari. These Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, what they have obtained? Avapalakshmim Anapayini Yasho. They have obtained the opulence of his staunch reputation. The Lord is glorified because of them. And the Lord is glorified as the one who purifies the entire world. Jagat Pavitram Chamahattamagrani. The reputation of the Lord is what? Jagat Pavitram. So he is glorified as Lord is glorified as Jagat Pavitram because the Brahmanas are worshipping them. Brahmanas are worshipping his lotus feet. Anyone remembers any other place where this is mentioned?
Kumaras, the Lord.
The Lord is telling to Kumaras, I have achieved this power of purifying all the sins because I take the dust of the lotus feet of devotees on my head. Yat sevaya charana padma pavitra reno sadhya shata kilamalam pratilapta shila na shri viraktim apimam vijahati yasya prekshalavataitare niyaman vahanti. By surveying the lotus feet of my devotees, I have acquired the disposition of purifying everyone. So he's saying the same thing. They are the cause of Lord's reputation. By worshipping their lotus feet, Lord Hari has obtained the reputation of अरे जगत पवित्र हो गए, जगत को प्यूरिफाई करते हैं. Prabhupada writes, Supreme Lord is called Brahmanya Deva. Brahmanya means Brahmanas, the Vaishnavas or Brahmanical culture. Deva means worshipable Lord. Therefore, unless one is on the transcendental platform of Vaishnava or a Brahmana, he cannot appreciate the Supreme Lord. Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Of course, the Kumaras, they tell in that case, oh my Lord, you know the fact, just to maintain our position, you are giving all the respect. If you don't give us respect, nobody will give us respect. So it is not that we are purifying, we are giving you power. That is your glory. Prabhupada gives the example of Lord washing the feet of Sudama. How Lord gives such respect to the Brahmanas. Because yad yad acharati sreshta tad tad evetaro jana. If Lord will give respect, then everybody will give respect to Brahmanas. Supreme Lord is described as Mahattama Agranihi. Within this material world, there are many great personalities, but Lord is Agrani. He is the best. Okay. And then, next verse, he continues. By serving the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the Lord is pleased. Yat sevaya shesha guhashaya swarat
यस्सेवया शेषगुहाशयस्वराट्
priyastushyati kamam ishvara
विप्रप्रियस्तुष्यति
tadeva
काममीश्वरम्
tadharma pare vinitai
तदेव
atmana brahma kulam nishevyatam.
सर्वात्मनं ब्रह्मकुलं निःशेषव्यतम्
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is everlastingly independent and who exists in everyone's heart, is very pleased with those who follow in his footsteps and engage without reservation the service of descendants of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. For he is always dear to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and they are always dear.
Yes. Yat sevaya, by serving them, yat sevaya, yat means who are mentioned in the previous Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Ashesha Guhashaya Swarat, that ever independent Lord. Ashesha Guhashaya Swarat. It is not that now he is independent, later he will become dependent. No, he is always independent. Swarat, Ashesha. That Lord who is Swarat, what happens to him? By serving the Brahmanas. This Lord, Vipra Priya Tushyati Kamam Ishvara, because the Lord is dear to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. When we serve the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the Lord becomes satisfied. Tushyati. And tadeva tadharma pare vinitai. And the Lord is satisfied with those who follows in his footsteps, because Lord is serving Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Anyone who serves Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, he pleases the Lord, he satisfies the Lord. Tushyati sarvatmana brahmakulam nishevyatam. Brahmakulam nishevyatam. Anyone who serves Brahmakula, one who serves Brahmanas, one who serves Vaishnavas, he follows in the footsteps of the Lord, he pleases the Lord, and the Lord becomes satisfied with them. Prabhupada writes how there is no other way than to please the Lord by serving Vaishnavas. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paishe Keba. By serving the devotees, one can get purified, one can get liberated. Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado Bhat Seva Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. By serving the devotees, one gets liberated. Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. Next verse. He continues. Serving the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas is purifying and liberating. Translation, somebody can read.
By regular service to the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, one can clear the dirt from his heart, and thus enjoy supreme peace and liberation from the material attachment and be satisfied. In this world, there is no fruitive activity superior to serving the Brahmana class, for this can bring pleasure to the demigods for whom the many sacrifices are required.
So the ultimate result is obtained. The two results are, one gets purified and one gets satisfied and liberated. Two things. One enjoys supreme peace, liberation, satisfaction, and clear the dirt from the heart. Umal labheta anati velam atmanaha. So without delay, the Lord is satisfied with that personality. Prasidato atyanta shamam swataswayam. Prasidato, the Lord is pleased with that personality, and one experiences atyanta shama. Atyanta shama means the greatest peace. So therefore, I should understand there is no greater fruitive activity. That means this gives the highest result. By serving the Vaishnavas, by serving the Brahmanas, one gets the highest result. And the highest result is the devotional service to the Lord. Tandera charan sehi bhakti sanevas janme janme hoye sehi abhilash prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasyopa. Prabhupada quotes all these verses. He is basically in the purport emphasizing how serving the devotees of the Lord, that is the highest benefit for every living entity. In this age of Kali, it is very difficult to render service to Brahmana class. The difficulty is that the demons have taken birth in Brahmana families. How to serve the Brahmanas? In other words, in this age, there are many so-called caste Brahmanas or caste Goswamis. By birth, they are just Brahmanas and Goswamis. They have no knowledge of Brahman. So how can we serve them? So one must take shelter of bona fide Guru and render service without any deviation. If one finds a spiritual master, a bona fide, authentic spiritual master, serve him without any deviation. That is very important. Prabhupada's favorite is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. I think we heard last time also in one of the class. This Chakravarti Thakur's purport to this verse, Prabhupada took it as life and soul. Vyavasaya Buddhi means one should do anything to follow the instructions of spiritual master. Make it as life and soul. That is Vyavasaya Buddhi. By actually following the principles of Bhakti Yoga, one can very quickly come to the platform of liberation. Atyanta Shamam. Anativelam, without any delay. Anativelam, jaldi milta hai, without any delay. One gets purified, one gets the highest benefit. And then, 41st verse, he is saying, the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are so great that the Lord eats through their mouth. The same thing came in that Kumara's episode also. The Lord is himself speaking that. Here Prithu Maharaj is speaking all these things. Translation?
Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ananta, eats through the fire sacrifice offered in the names of the different demigods, he does not take as much pleasure in accepting offerings through the mouths of non-sages and devotees. For then, he does not leave the association of devotees.
Same thing has come there also. The Lord eats through the yajna, but when one offers to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the Lord is more happy. Prabhupada quotes this, wherever devotees they come, they sing the glories of the Lord, God resides there. While performing the fire sacrifice, one pronounces the word Swaha, Indraya Swaha, Adityaya Swaha. These mantras are uttered to satisfy the Lord through these devtas. That should not mean that, okay, chalo, hum log bhi Indra yajna karte hain. No. The devotee should always be very careful. One should never get distracted by the karma kandi rituals in the Vedas. Direct devotional service pleases the Lord more than indirect devotional service. Avidhi purvaka bhakti is not, although everybody is serving the Lord only, na? Krishna says, Mama vartamanu vartante manushya parth sarvasah. Sab log meri bhakti kar rahe hain. So what is the problem? Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita tevi mameva kaunte yajante avidhi purvakam. All these people, they are worshipping me only through devatas, but they are worshipping me in wrong way. So rather than worshipping devatas, worship the Lord directly, because Lord is pleased by that. Fire is certainly devoid of life, but the devotees and brahmanas are living representatives of the Lord. Therefore, to feed brahmanas and Vaishnavas is to feed the Lord directly. Therefore, even if somebody is born in a low class family, Prabhupada gives the example of Advaitacharya giving Shraddha Patra to Haridas Thakur. He was born in Malecha family, but still. And Advaitacharya was the head of all the Brahmanas. He was at a very, very prestigious position. He was a leader. And he took that decision. That means it was a great decision. It was not commonly done in that time. Prabhupada writes, Haridas Thakur asked why he was doing this might jeopardize his position. Advaitacharya, you are the leader of Brahmanas and you are doing something which is not so commonly done. You can be thrown out of your position. Advaitacharya says, तुम्हार खाइले होइले हय सर लक्ष ब्राह्मण रे भोजन ऐसा कुछ तो बोलते हैं, कोटि ब्राह्मण भोजन बोलते हैं शायद. Millions of brahmanas I am feeding by feeding you. He was prepared to talk with any learned brahman on this point and prove definitely that by offering food to a pure devotee like Haridas Thakur, he was equally as blessed as he would have been by offering food to thousands of learned brahmanas. What is so special about these brahmanas and the Vaishnavas? Because they support the Vedas, they follow the Vedas. Yad brahma nityam virajam sanatanam shraddha tapo mangala mauna samyamai samadhina vibhratiha tishtaye yatre ramadarsh ivava bhasate. Translation.
In Brahmanical culture, a Brahmana's transcendental position is eternally maintained because the injunctions of the Vedas are accepted with faith, austerity, scriptural conclusions, full sense and mind control, and meditation. In this way, the real goal of life is illuminated, just as one's face is fully reflected in a clear mirror.
So why Brahmanas are so exalted? Because they follow the Vedas. And they follow the Vedas with so many wonderful qualities. They have full faith, they have mind control, they have sense control, they perform austerity. All these things they are doing. So therefore, for them, the goal is very clear. And they do all that to support that the Vedas, they are telling our real goal. That is samsiddhi haritoshanam. Vedaisha sarvai aham eva vedyo. So Brahmanas are showing that by their practice, by their austerity, faith. That's why they are glorious. It is described in previous verse that feeding a Brahmana is more effective than feeding oblations in fire. In this verse, it is now described what Brahmanism is and who Brahmana is. What Brahmanism is? Brahmanism means following all this, following the Vedic injunctions with faith, austerity, scriptural regulations, sense control, mind control. That is Brahmanism, that is Brahmana. In the age of Kali, taking advantage of the fact that by feeding a Brahman, one obtains a more effective result than perform sacrifices. A class of men with no Brahmanical qualities claim the eating privilege known as Brahman Bhojan. प्रभुपाद जो भी अपना वैदिक रिचुअल्स में ऐसा होता है ना, सबको he always destroys all the misconceptions. ब्राह्मण भोजन, अरे ब्राह्मण है क्या ब्राह्मण भोजन करने के लिए? There are some brahmanas who have अभी श्राद्ध का दिन आया तो 10 घरों में उनको खाना है. They have the capacity to eat at 10 homes also. थोड़ा थोड़ा खाते हैं, बचा के खाते हैं, इतना खाना और उधर भी खाना है, उधर भी खाना है. अरे बाबा, do you have the capacity to purify? Because प्रहलाद महाराज क्या बोलते हैं? मन्येदनाभिजन रूप तप श्रुतौ तेजो प्रभाव बल पौरुष बुद्धि योगा नाराधनाय हि भवन्ति नयेनि. In this verse, इधर बोल रहे हैं कि none of the externals pleases you, my Lord. And he says, Bhaktya tutosha Bhagavan, Bhakti pleases you, my Lord. And a Brahmana who has 12 qualifications, he cannot deliver his own dynasty. Yuta Taravinda Nabha Padaravinda Vimukha Swapacham Varishtham. A person who is born in the family of dog eater is better than a Brahmana. If he is a devotee, a person born in the dog eater family is better because a Brahmana cannot deliver his own family. A Brahmana cannot deliver himself. What to speak of his family? So one should have the qualification. Then one should claim. In order to distinguish this class of men from real Brahman, Maharaj Prithu is giving an exact description of Brahman and Brahmanical culture. ये सब कर रहे हैं तो आप ब्राह्मण हैं, नहीं तो we are not Brahman. Vedeshu sarvairaham vedyo. Do you know who is Krishna? Do you know who is Bhagavan? If you don't know Bhagavan, you are not Brahman. Brahma janati iti Brahman. And then Prabhupada writes about the position of Vaishnava. A perfect Vaishnava is always transcendental. He is beyond, he is more than a Brahmana. Because he speaks of Krishna, always, whatever he is saying, it is free from all the defects. Bhram, Pramad, Karna, Pata, Vipralipsa. These are the 4 defects of human beings. We have imperfect senses, we make mistakes, we tend to get illusion, and we cheat others and get cheated. The words of great personalities, Arsha Vigya Vakya Nahi Dosh E Sab. Arsha Vigya Vakya means the words of great personalities, the devotees of the Lord, they don't have these 4 defects because they are just repeating the words of the Vedas. Prabhupada would always say, I may not be perfect, but whatever I am speaking is perfect. Because I am not adding anything, I am not subtracting anything. Prabhupada writes, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, everyone should think of him. Manmanabha Madbhakta Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. These activities are transcendental and free from 4 defects. Therefore, anyone who is a sincere devotee of the Lord, who preaches this, speaking only on the basis of Krishna's instructions, is understood to be Viraja, free from defects. So that's how the Brahmanas, they are free from whatever they speak. Their words are beyond the defects because they are speaking from the Vedas. And then Prabhupada focuses on this word Mangal. What is so Mangal about them? Sridhar Swami quotes that to do what is good and to reject what is not good is Mangal. And the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, they know what is to be done and they know what is not to be done. Anukulasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. They are doing it. So therefore, the life of a devotee is all auspicious life. And then Prabhupada writes, they understand the purpose of the Vedas, they know who is Krishna. And the conclusion is that a Brahmana does not become Brahmana simply by birth. He must possess all the qualities. And then Prabhupada writes, the best of the Brahmana is the devotee of the Lord. He can see Krishna face to face. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochane. And he says, these Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, they are so powerful, they are so worshipable. Their dust should be placed on one's head. Teshamaham pada sarojarenum.
Teshamaham pada sarojarenum.
Arya vaheryadhi kiritamayu.
Marya Vaheya
Yam
Kiridam
nityada viprata shupapam.
Yam Nityada Viprata
Nashatyamam sarva guna bhajante.
Ram Sarvaguna
O respectable personalities present here, I beg the blessings of all of you that I may perpetually carry on my crown the dust of lotus feet of such Brahmanas and Vaishnavas until the end of my life. He who can carry such dust on his head is very soon relieved of all the actions which arise from sinful life, and eventually he develops all good and desirable qualities.
So therefore, Saroj Renu, therefore, we should take the dust of these Brahmanas and Vaishnavas on our head. Okay. Prabhupada quotes these verses from Prahlad Maharaj. He's telling to Hiranyakashipu. When Hiranyakashipu, he asks Prahlad, "Kya sikha batao? What your teachers have taught?" प्रहलाद बोलते हैं मेरे टीचर तो नारद मुनि, उन्होंने जो बताया वही बता देता हूँ. श्रवणम कीर्तनम विष्णु स्मरणम पाद सेवनम. Hiranyakashipu becomes very angry. He says, "Your teachers have not." He becomes angry on teachers. बोले क्या सिखाया हमने? बोले हमने नहीं सिखाया, ये नैसर्गिक ही रहती है. He is naturally attracted. If they have not taught you all of this, how have you learned? So Prahlad bolte hain, don't worry my father, you will never get this understanding. Either by your parata swatova. How does it start? Matirna Krishna parata swatova. You will never get this understanding, oh my lord. Oh my father, either you endeavor alone or you endeavor with your ministers, all of you endeavor. But oh my father, there is a way out. Unless you take the dust of the devotees' lotus feet, there is no hope. Naisham matistavadurukkramangrim mahyasam padarajobhishekam. Only by the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees, there is a hope and chance one can get devotional service. So therefore, the dust of the devotees are very, very powerful. As Chaitanya Bhagavatam describes, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhaktapad Duliya, Bhaktapad Jal, Bhakta Bhukta Vashesha, Tina Mahabal. Three most powerful things are the dust of the devotees, remnants of devotees, and the water which has washed the devotees' lotus feet. They are very powerful. Prabhupada writes. A great soul who has fully surrendered to the Lord, after understanding Him fully and after undergoing austerities for many, many lives, is very rare. Tulayam lavena nahi. The devotees are very rare. The devotees of the Lord, it is very, very rare to have darshan of the devotees of the Lord. Anyways, Prabhupada writes, the crown of a king is simply a big load if the king or head of the state does not bear the dust of the lotus feet of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas on his head. So the devotees are very rare. If we are getting their the dust of their lotus feet, we should take that. And then the last verse of this section, Ritu Maharaj is saying, you know what is the wealth of these Brahmanas and Vaishnavas? Their good behavior. They have so many wonderful qualities. Their wealth is not the material wealth. Their wealth is the good behavior which they have. Gunayanam Shila Dhanam Kritakyam Vriddha Shrayam Samvrinitenu Sampada Prasidatam Brahma Kulam Gavamcha Janardana Sanucharashtamayam. Translation.
Hare Krishna.
Whoever acquires the Brahminical qualifications, whose only wealth is good behavior, who is grateful and who takes shelters of experienced persons, gets all the opulence of the world. I therefore wish that the Supreme Personality of Godhead associates with the Brahmana class, with the cows and with me.
So that's how he ends his glorifications. Guna Ayanam, whose only wealth is Shila Dhanam, Shila Dhana. The only wealth of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas is their good character. They are always Kritagya, grateful. Vriddha Shrayam, They take shelter of experienced people. Samvrinutenu sampada. They get all these experienced persons, they take shelter and they get all the opulence of the world. Therefore, what do I wish? Prasidatam. I want that all these personalities be pleased on me. Brahmakulam, Brahmanas, Gavam, the cows, and the Supreme Lord and his associates. Anuchara, Janardana, Anuchara, Brahmakulam, Gava. May the Supreme Lord, his associates, Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, and the cows be pleased with me. So that is the ultimate prayer of Prithu Maharaj. Prabhupada describes the devotees are full of wonderful qualities. In fact, for a devotee, he is not known by the material wealth. Etiquettes are the ornaments of a Vaishnava. And these devotees, they always take shelter of the senior devotees. Vriddha, who is a Vriddha? Vriddha Ashraya. He says there are two kinds of Vriddha. Vayovriddha and Jnana Vriddha. One who is senior by age, senior by knowledge. One who is advanced in knowledge is actually Vriddha. Just spending years does not make one intelligent. The trees also live for thousands of years. They are not glorified Vriddha inki seva karte hain. Vriddha is Jnana Vriddha. One who has knowledge of Krishna. Vriddhashraya, a person who takes shelter of superior person who is advanced in knowledge, can acquire all the good qualities. So that's how the teachings of Prithu Maharaj ends here. In the last few verses, Maitreya Muni, he concludes this discussion, and citizens, they praise the Lord. We'll just quickly read these verses. ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है, translation भी ज़्यादा नहीं है. Translation, 45th verse.
The great sage Maitreya said, after hearing King Prithu speak so nicely, all the demigods, the denizens of Pitraloka, the Brahmanas, and the saintly persons present at the meeting congratulated him by expressing their goodwill.
Sadhuvada. It was a very saintly talk. It was a perfect talk. Sadhuvada. Sadhuvada means when a person speaks nicely, all the assembled members, they say, Sadhu, Sadhu, wonderful talk, wonderful. So all the demigods, the sages, Pitris, they all said, Sadhu, Sadhu. They all accepted the good mission of Prithu Maharaj. Yes, you established Bhagavad Bhakti. पुत्रेण जयते लोकान् इति सत्यवती श्रुता ब्रह्मदण्डः तत्पापो यद्वेनोऽत्यतरतमः. Translation.
They all declared that the Vedic conclusion that one can conquer the heavenly planets by the action of a putra or son was fulfilled. For the most sinful Veena, who had been killed by the curse of the Brahmanas, was now delivered from the darkest region of hellish life by his son Maharaj Prithu.
Yes. So Vena, he was actually going to hell. He was in hell, but Prithu Maharaj was such a great personality. He delivered Vena also from his hellish condition. That is Putra. Putra, the meaning is Punarka Trayate iti Putra. One who delivers a person from a hellish planet called as Put. That is Putra. So Vena was most sinful, but Prithu Maharaj was such a great devotee. He was the empowered representative of the Lord. He purified the birth of his father, sinful birth. The purpose of accepting a wife in religious marriage is to have a son qualified to deliver his father from the darkest region of hellish life. Marriage is not intended for sense gratification, but for getting a qualified son. If a son is raised to become an unqualified demon, how can he deliver his father? Guru na sasya, sajano na sasya, pita na sasya, napati sasyan. All these things, they come in the fifth canto. One should not become a guru, father, mother, teacher, spiritual master if one cannot deliver their subordinates from birth, cycle of birth and death. Namo chayedyat samupeta mrityum. Then an example is given. Hiranyakashipushchapi bhagavanindayatama vivikshor atyaga suno prahaladasyanubhavatah.
Similarly, Hiranyakashipu, who by dint of his sinful activities always defied the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of God, had entered into the darkest region of hellish life. But by the grace of his great son Prahlad Maharaj, he was also delivered and went back home, back to God.
Tri saptabhi pita puta. Your 21 generations will be delivered, O Prahlad. That was the benediction. Nityanti pitaras sarve nityanti ja pitamaha madvamshe vaishnava jata sametrata bhavishyati. When somebody takes to devotional service, all their ancestors are dancing. ये मेरे family में devotee ने भक्ति करना शुरू किया, devotee है, बन गया. Devotees are vanchakalpataru. They are par dukha dukhi. Okay. वीरवर्य पिता पृथ्व्या समासंजीव शाश्वती यस्ये दृशी अच्युते भक्ति सर्वलोकैक भर्तरि.
All the saintly Brahmanas thus addressed Prithu Maharaj, O best of the warriors, O father of this globe, may you be blessed with a long life, for you have great devotions to the infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of all the universe.
So now all the Brahmanas are blessing Prithu Maharaj that may you have a long life full of devotion. Prabhupada writes, although one's duration of life is limited, if by chance one becomes a devotee, he surpasses the duration prescribed for life. The devotee can live beyond the expected duration of his life. Because kirtir yasya sa jivati, the devotee is that. Another feature of devotee is that he lives forever because of his infallible devotion. Kirtir yasya jivati. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, he reasons ill who says that Vaishnava dies. Vaishnava never dies. He continues to live by his instructions. Their reputation is always there. He quotes, Mahaprabhu is asking Ramananda, what is the greatest reputation? The greatest reputation is to become a devotee of the Lord. That is the permanent reputation. None of the reputation of this world will last, but only this reputation will last, a devotee. Then the audience, they are telling something. Ahovayam hyadya pavitra kirte tvayeva nathena mukunda yauttama shloka tamasya vishno brahmanya devasya katham vyanakti. Translation.
The audience continued, Dear King Prithu, your reputation is the purest of all. For you are the preaching the glories of the most glorified of all the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the Brahmanas. Since due to our great fortune we have you as our master, we think that we are living directly under the agency of the Lord.
Yeah. So now the citizens are so very happy hearing from Prithu Maharaj, whose words are full of 7 qualities. The 7 qualities of Prithu Maharaj's speech is described previously. Charu, Pitrapadam, Svakshnam, Rishtam, Gudam, Aviklavam, Sarvesham, Upakarartham. When all the citizens, they heard all these wonderful speech and instructions, they are so very happy and enlivened. They are saying, your reputation is purest. Pavitra Kirti. Your purest reputation. Because you are glorifying Supreme Lord. Mukunda Natha, Lord is your master. And you are glorifying His glories. So therefore, we are so fortunate that we are under your care. The only fortune a person may have is to is to be under shelter of a great devotee of the Lord. That is our real shelter. That is our real fortune. Fortune is if one gets the shelter of a great spiritual master. To all the citizens, they are saying we are so fortunate. We have received your shelter, O Prithu Maharaj. Natyadbhutam idam natha tvaya jivyanushasanam tava jivyanushasanam prajanurago mahatam prakriti karunatmanam. Translation.
Our dear Lord, it is your occupational duty to rule over your citizens. That is not very wonderful task for a personality like you, who are so affectionate in seeing to the interests of the citizens, because you are full of mercy. That is the greatness of your character.
So your excellent leadership is not so astonishing. You are by nature merciful. You are by nature great. So you will naturally rule off all of us nicely. So it is not very astonishing. That is your nature. That is what the sages, the citizens are saying. You are by nature merciful and compassionate. Prabhupada writes, the symptom of a qualified king or political leader is mentioned herein. He must be very merciful and compassionate to people and see to their prime interest. What is that? To make them devotees of the Lord. That is the ultimate benefit. Adhyanastam sappara tvayopasadita prabho brahmyatam nashta drishtinam karmabhir daiva sangitah.
The citizens continue. Today you have opened our eyes and revealed how to cross to the other side of the ocean of darkness. By our past deeds and by the arrangement of superior authority, we are entangled in a network of futile activities and have lost sight of destination of life. Thus we have been wandering within the universe.
Karmabhir daiva sangitai, by the will, by the course of our activities, under the influence of superior nature, we were wandering. Brahmanda Brahmite, we were wandering. By some good fortune, we have now achieved your shelter. You have given us vision. Chakshudam dilojai. We opened our eyes. We had lost our vision. We had lost our discrimination. Because of the desire to enjoy in this world, living entity has lost his power of discrimination. And a blind person, what will happen to him? He will fall down in a ditch which is full of snakes, and he will be bitten by the snakes again and again. Andasya merita viveka mahanasya chaurai prabho balivirindriyanamadheya mohanda kupa kuhare vipatitasya devesha dehi krimanasya karavalambam. A blind, so this devotee is saying, I was blind because my discrimination is my vision. My discrimination power is stolen. Vivek Shakti. Who has stolen? Chaurai Prabho Balivirindriyanamadheya Indriya. My senses have stolen. And now I am fallen. So Brahmite, somehow we have achieved this path of bhakti. We are delivered from ignorance by your instructions. Brahmite yadi sadhu vaidyapai. Taro upadesh mantre pishachi palai. Krishna bhakti paye tabe Krishna nikate aaye. So after being bitten by the snake, what is the treatment of this? Mantra. Previous times people had the power to cure the bite of snake by mantra. So the devotee also gives mantra, Upadesh mantra. So they are saying we are given this Upadesh mantra by you. We have now we have received our vision back. That is our fortune. Today you have opened our eyes. Okay, the last verse. We'll recite this. Namo vivriddha sattvaya.
Namo Vivriddha Sattvaaya
Purushaya mahiyase.
Purushaya
Yo brahma shatram avishya.
Yo Brahma Kshatramavishya
Vivartidam svatesa.
Vivartidam Svatesasa.
Dear Lord, you are situated in your pure existential position of goodness. Therefore, you are the perfect representative of the Supreme Lord. You are glorified by your own prowess and thus you are maintaining the entire world by introducing Brahminical culture and protecting everyone in your line of duty as a Kshatriya.
You are Vivriddha Sattvaya. Vivriddha Sattva means you are highly elevated. You are completely pure. Shuddha Sattva basically. You are beyond Tamogun, Rajogun, Sattvagun. One has to be raised from the platform of ignorance to platform of goodness by devotional service. There is no means other than this. And by practicing Bhakti, by reading Bhagavatam, one gradually is purified. Shinvata, Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hridayantasto hi abhatrani, Vidhunoti. So by hearing, all these citizens are saying we are purified. Vidhunoti ho gaya. We are purified of all our contaminations. We are so very grateful. So that's how all the Brahmanas and all the citizens, they offered their beautiful prayers. And that is the end of this chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Listen.
Paper on the group.